Okay. So actually, I need to change this link. I don't want to clone this one. I want to do that new starter project. So you can use your starter project. This is going to be part of the homework though, to add authentication. So I think it might be better just to clone down my starter, and then you'll have that as a reference while you're working on yours. So let me pull up my starter project. And we're just going to start with this, and we're going to clone this down. So give me 1 second. We're going to do cat Tinder today and tomorrow. I got to pull up iTerm in 1 second. All right. All right, so now we have to follow the kind of our setup instructions for this starter project. For this one, remember we want to run bundle. Can split a pane, can CD one of these into client. Run yarn. Oh, CD into client. If you type this double and, that's like it CDs into the client and then it runs yarn. Combine these if you want. All right, the next thing we need to do that I'm going to do right now, just this one's really important for me, is I need to remove my remote. Okay, so that's been removed. I also need to open this up in code and don't want to do that. Code dot. And I need to change my database YAML file. Just need to change my name. This cat Tinder. So go through and change all these. So remember with Visual Studio, if you highlight a section of text and then do Command F, then it comes up here in your search, and then you can click that little drop down, and then you can change it to whatever you want here and go through on this right icon, this B through C, this replace icon, and replace all the things you want. Cool. So now that that's saved, I can do my Rails DB create, DB migrate, and DB seed. Okay, so now we can start our server, just test this out. I think if I go to my README, just to double check, because this should have the instructions. I believe we've done all of this. We've cloned it, we bundled, we seeded, yeah, and we've removed our remote. So if you ever forget how to set that up, those should be part, that should be part of your README, is how to get this, your starter project, up and running. Cool, so we have things, components. Sweet. All right, so now we're set up with that. So let's go ahead and get the back end set up. Now the back end is actually, this is going to be the easier part of this whole process, is the back end. But for the back end, what we want to add is we want to add a gem called devise token auth. I'm just going to say actually, let's say this up here. This is based off of the gem devise. Which is great for just Rails authentication. So if you're just having a Rails application and you want to do authentication, then devise is going to be your go-to for that. It's really common. It makes authentication super easy with the Rails app. And that's going to be like your cookie and session, your session authentication. So this one, devise token auth, is based off of devise, but it's kind of like the token version of it. So it's not as friendly as devise, but it works pretty well. So since we've done that, I'm going to stop my server and run bundle. So we have that new gem. And then we're going to do some setup for devise. I'm going to slack this out as well. So this is part of the devise token auth. We're doing a Rails G devise token auth install. We're creating a user model. And we're giving it this API/auth, because this is going to create some routes for us too. So we're creating a user model API auth. So let's go ahead and run this, see what happens. So notice how we have a change made to our application controller. We have changes to our routes. We have this model, and we have a migration file. So let's run our migration file, Rails DB migrate. Oh, I think I need to come in here into my model. So let's go to that devise model. So Command P for user.rb. And inside of here, I'm going to add this extends devise models. Then we have some helper methods in here from devise, like database authenticable, registerable, validatable, rememberable, recoverable. So These are things like we can register a user to the database. We can authenticate a user. We can remember. We can validate. We can recover a user. This would be like, we could potentially set up like, email me like to get like your password, a new password, if you're like forgotten password. There's other ones like lockable, like maybe if someone tries to log in a couple amount of times, that we could stop that. But we're just going to kind of leave this as is, except we need to add this section right here. And now we should be able to do our Rails DB migrate. Extends, did I extend? Not an S, extend, devise. There we go. All right. So yeah, this has, if we like look at our routes file, we have this, we're going to have this mount device token off for users. This is going to set up our routes for authentication. We go to our schema. Like we now have a users model that has all of these fields on it. So it has like a name, nickname, image, email, tokens, all of this stuff. So it's a big table. We're going to actually add some more. So we're going to do a Rails G migration. I'm going to create a new migration. Can you see this? I'm going to call this add trackable to users. This will just create a migration file called add trackable to users. So if you look at that migration file. I'll go ahead and slack this out, what we're going to throw inside of here. So we're just adding some more columns to this table, just sign in, current sign in at, last sign in at, which are date times, and then some IPs. So we added a migration file, so we need to run Rails DB migrate again to add those columns in our table. Cool. So that for now really is our backend setup. One way I could check just to see what's going on here is I could go just check out my routes, just kind of see what routes I have going on. So we have things like a get API auth sign in, a post user sessions pass. So looks like we have ways, and we're going to be like, it's going to be giving us back a token, but like behind the scenes, it is using sessions, but we'll be using an actual token. But so like if we want to sign in, we're going to do a post request to API auth sign in. And that's going to go to this controller in action, which we don't need to like do anything with. This is already going to be built out. So we don't need to build out any of these controllers or actions on the back end. So that's a nice thing. We don't have to deal with all of that stuff. It's going to keep it simple for us. But yeah, so let's go to, you can open up a new pane within your client. And we're just going to make some folders.
Sorry, could you scroll up on your main Rails one? I just want to see your last command.
This one?
Above that.
Oh, I did. Okay, so for this one, we did just, we created that add trackable to users, and then I slacked out that code that should go in there. And then I ran the migrate to add those changes.
Oh, so we're supposed to add that to it before doing the migration. Okay.
Yeah, so this needs to be added before the migration.
So if I did the migration before, how do I fix that? Just destroy it?
Yeah, you're probably gonna have to delete it. So Rails D migration and then the name, then recreate it, add that, and then run the migrate. Because if you change the migration file after you've run Rails DB migrate, it's not going to like see the changes unless you like go drop your database. I mean, you could drop your database and recreate it and remigrate it. That would also work. It's just, yeah, so I'm going to make some directories in here. So I'm going to, in my client, I'm going to make a directory. Let's just call it in my source directory. And then I'm going to call this components. Oh, wait, we might already have that in here. I'm going to cd into source. Okay, I already have a components folder in here, so I don't need to make that. I do want to make a directory. So I'm in my source, I cd into source. So I'm inside of my source, I want to make a directory providers. Now I have a providers component in here. And we can do this in, all that's doing in VS Code. Actually, while I'm here, I'm going to do a git add and commit. Let's just call this.
Do you have like you removed your remote origin, but did you reconnect it to anything else?
I haven't yet. That shouldn't matter just because I am. This is just like, I'm just committing on Git.
Okay, so you're not pushing it yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why git add? Did I type it wrong? Git add dot git. Okay. Because yeah, I like that, not to like my source control. I don't like having like 30 things changed in here. Just in case if I do screw up, it makes it easier to.
Mine is doing the same thing. How did you fix that?
So I went back. I think I had to go back into my.
Oh,
I'm not sure why. Maybe because I was not in a directory that made the change, but I feel like that shouldn't matter. But anyway, yeah, that's what I just went back to the cat tender directory. Okay, so where are we at? Let's go. The example in let me see. Let me see if I have both examples of the auth provider. One second. So in the Neo notes, the example of the auth provider is a class component. I want to do this as a functional component though. I do believe I have the code for a functional component somewhere. Just let me make sure. Yeah, if in the, let me show this, in the first of the notes, just so you have a reference. Here's like, we're gonna build an auth provider right now. In the Neo notes, it's a class component, but here's a demo of it as a functional component. So this is what we're going to build right now. So let's go into our client directory, into our source, to our providers. So this is from yesterday's lecture. We're going to create a provider. And this provider is going to kind of handle all of this authentication stuff. So it's going to handle like logging in a user, logging out a user. It's also going to hold the user data. So then we can have this provider providing the functionality to log in and log out, and also like keep track of like, is the user logged in or not, that type of stuff. Because that was, I think Raphael asked that like yesterday after class. It's like, how are we going to maybe prevent certain things from getting loaded or sharing things? So this is one way we're going to do this. Okay, so let's go ahead and import React from React and import Axios. We'll eventually use Axios. So
I thought you were frozen for a second, but you don't seem to be anymore if you were, so.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like my internet is like cutting out like every like 30 minutes. Maybe I'm gonna shut off my video. Maybe that will help. Okay. So the next thing we want to do, let's also grab use state just while we're here. I want that. So let's go ahead and create our context. I'm just going to call this auth context. It's going to be equal to my, oh, sorry, React.create context. And probably won't use this, but let's just export it anyway. So we're going to export our consumer. We don't really need our consumer anymore if we're using the use context hook. But let's just export it, consumer. This is going to be auth context.consumer. Here we're going to be.
You have auth consumer.consumer. Did you want context?
Thank you. Yes, I do. Auth context.consumer. Also leave a note. Yeah, we're probably not even going to use this because we'll be using the use context hook instead. And then we can start building out our auth provider. So we're going to have some user state. Set user. This is going to be like our user we get back from the database. Now I want to set this to null by default because a null user is going to kind of represent we don't have a logged in user. So by default, we don't have a user. Let's go ahead and stub out some functions that we're going to have. So we're going to have like a handle register. Now we can just like throw in a console.log. This is going to be, you know, our function to register a user. I'm just going to copy this because we're going to have a handle login function. Then we can go ahead and have a logout function. And then we can return, this is where we'll return our auth context, consumer auth context dot provider. We can go ahead and we'll pass the user. We'll pass our handle register function. And since these are the same name, I'm just not going to fill those out either. Just use short the ES6 shorthand. Handle login and handle logout. Inside of here, we can do props.children. Syntax here somewhere. Oh, I need to say value equals. Let's give it my value prop. I don't think I need to say props right here, so props is defined. Then export default my auth provider. So here's our provider that's going to live at the root of our application, where we're going to have these three functions to do all like the registering, logging in, and logging out, and then also have the user data. So now what we want to do is in our index.js, go ahead and wrap our app inside of this. So I'm going to get my auth provider, wrap my whole app in that. So now the next thing I want to build out is a register function or a register component. So let's go ahead and do that. Register and login. So I'm going to do this. This is going to be a little different than Neo because in Neo it's in the components directory, but I think these are going to be their own separate pages in React Router. So I'm going to throw these in my pages file or folder. So let's do a login.js and a register.js. And let's just build out our register component. Or let's set up the links first. Let's do import React from React. Let's register props. Then export default this component. Oh, thank you. All right. So the next thing we can do is go set this up in our app. So let's do a register path. That's going to be register. And then set that up in our navbar. So components navbar. I'm just going to get rid, I don't really need that things anymore. So just do a register to register. All right, so if we go back to localhost 3000, now I have a register page that takes me to that component. Let's see here. So let's go ahead and let's just start filling this out. So let me see if I can just give you the form really quick. One second. Oh no, this one. Okay, we won't do that. Let's go ahead and just build this out. So let's come in here, add a semantic form. So form from semantic. And then we can have a on submit. And then let's see here. Let's do just a little label. Let's just keep this simple for now. So let's do a input form dot input. And let's do a label. This will be our, so we need an email. And that needs to be the string email. So we're also going to have an email. We're going to have a password. We can do these capitalized because that's what the user is going to see, password. We're also going to have a password confirmation. So these are the things we're going to want state for. So let's grab a use state hook. do these as separate ones, set email. And password, set password. Password confirmation. It's confirmation of and then for here, I can just do my default kind of value. That's going to be password, or sorry, this one will be email, and then the on change. Take my event and grab my value. Set that equal to set email to value. And then I can just copy and paste these and change what I need to. Set password. Set password confirmation right here. Handle submit's not fine, so I have this handle submit. Let's do that. I'll slack this out at some point. Let's build it out a little more. Oh yeah, I also want a button here. Button. I need to say const handle submit and import my button. So I need to make sure I import button and make that a const handle submit. It could be like a. Let's actually try to call our register function from our provider. So I could get that set up too. So I could do const. Let's just grab the register function that we set up in our auth provider. So I can grab my use context hook, import that from React, and pass that our auth context. And we should have that register function. So we should just be able to call that inside of our submit. And all the register function does right now is just should log, register called. But at least we can test that we have that set up. And if this is working, I'll slack this much out. So we can inspect, come in here. The password's not working, so I need to fix that. And register is not a function. Okay, so we need to fix that. That's saying that's broken. So a couple bugs. First of all, my password is not changing because I'm setting password to password. I need to set that to value. That's problem number one. So now my password's working. Now this register is not working. Oh, maybe I didn't call it register. Yeah, I called it handle register. So let's go back and switch that to handle register. register user. Register user. Reg sitter user. Okay, so we have that set up. So we have this form. And like, I think one thing we could also probably see is like user, just allow this to like get a function. So we're probably going to want to pass that user data, right? So just add that parameter. And, you know, we probably want this for like all of these. So maybe we can see that working. We probably don't need that for this, but we'll, yeah, we can just get rid of this for now. We don't need that on our logout. So now in my register form, I'll just go ahead and pass this object of email and password. Now I really don't need to send the password confirmation to register. I just need an email and password. But what I could do here is I could do a little check on the front end. This is just me being nice. Let's say like alert. Passwords do not match. And then I could return. So if they don't equal, I'm going to give the front end an alert saying, hey, these passwords don't match. And then I'm going to return. So that would stop right there. If they do match, then I call my handle register. So email 1234 123. Did I not save that? Save that. 1234 123 register. Passwords do not match. I don't see my log. If I match them, register user, there's my data. Let's go ahead and take, I'm going to Slack this out. Should we just, no, yeah, let me Slack this out. I think we can finish this process first and then take a break. But we're pretty much there, right? That's our form, and we're calling the right register method in our provider. And then in our provider, that's where we can do our Axios call to actually register a user. So we're all set to go here. Do Axios call now. So to do this, we can look at our routes. So localhost 3001, Rails info routes 3001. So we want to create we want to like register. It's not signing in. Signing in is like we've already registered for the app. We want to find our like create a user almost, because this is going to be a new user that we're creating. So what is the route? Probably right here. Registrations create. So it's going to be a post to API auth. Okay, so let's make this function async since we're doing an Axios call inside of here. And then I can just do my let's do a try catch, try catch. This is definitely a place where we won't do it right now, but we're going to want to do some error handling. It's really going to save you a headache. So I'm just going to leave a note here. I want to handle this in your UI for your sake. If you don't handle this error, you're probably going to like think your app's broken, but it's really not broken. And I'll explain why in 1 second, but let's do this. Let response equal Axios dot post slash API slash auth. And then let's go ahead and send that user data. And then this needs, I need to await for that. Let's just do a console.log user console.log error. Let me see if I can. There's going to be error.response. Sorry, I'm just looking at the notes really quick. We'll just see what the error looks like. Actually, I will log error.response as well. Okay. Oh, sorry, console.log, and let's log the response here. So I'm going to come in here. Since I'm actually doing this, let's do like a valid, like an email test at test.com. So something to also know, our password, I believe it needs to be at least 6 characters. So something already that I really recommend you do, because we might be creating a whole bunch of users through this. And this can like take time to come fill this out. I think it can be nice to, in your register component, have some default state already set. This way I don't have to like, when I go to my register page, I have some information in there. Obviously you want to throw this in like production, but this is going to be nice for just testing. Because then if I refresh, you know, it's there. So now I can click register. Boom, there you go, data. Was this successful? Status success, yes. So we know that because we got a 200. And then we also know this because this, we now got back some data that has an ID of 1. So we just created a user through this register form. And it looks like res.data is going to be our user. See how res.data is an object that has status and data key. So I need to do res.data to grab the actual user. So then what I can do here in my, if I go back to my auth provider, here I can set my user. Res.data. Cool, so let's test this out. I'm going to refresh. Let's go ahead and click register. Did this work? There, I'm highlighting it. That's bad. Unprocessable entity 422. Wait, why didn't that work?
Does the backend already have like an automatic emails must be unique sort of thing?
Yeah, that's exactly why we can't have the on the back end with the bias token auth. it's making sure that the email is unique. So this email's already been taken. So if I go to my data, let's see, I think this, yeah, this is my response.data, response.data.errors. There we go, errors.full messages. Email has already been taken. So there's that error. So it's nice to hard code it, but remember, just with your email, you're going to have to change up your email. And I'm pretty sure, let's try out doing like, so I have a valid email, like this is a new email, but I'm only going to have like a 3-character password. See, that's a 422. If I look at my data, .errors, password's too short, minimum is 6 characters. So we do need to have 6 characters and a unique email when you register. So yeah, definitely say like alert, unsuccessful, check console, maybe like email is not unique, password is invalid or something like that. Just so when you're developing and you try to register something, like you at least get like that error. And we'll maybe add some like UI to make this a little better. But for now, let's just keep it like that. Cool. Questions on this? I think now we have our register working. Let me select out the register component. Are there any questions on this? Nothing so crazy right now. We're using our provider, which actually should probably clean things up, because now we can handle all of our like user stuff here, like setting a user, creating a user, that can all be handled here. We just did an Axios post call to create our user. So this is like nothing new so far, really. Let's take a break if there's no questions and come back at 10:45. Does anyone, and I'm going to create a repo for this right now and I'll push that up and I'll Slack that out.
Thank you.
No problemo.